just rode into the ground. We'll quickly cross boundary side thanks to chiropractic betting, Lockie Munro.
Yeah, thanks, boys. Dan Donati was really, really satisfied with that quarter. As you could see, they dominated every aspect of the game. He actually reckons that it's probably about a 4 to 5 goal breeze, and he really wants to slow down Vermont with where they had that breeze.
Let's see if the Eagles can get back into this one. Big Johnny Mason gets the tap down once again. Had that enough times this afternoon. Trying to dig at the bottom of the pack there was Wale Buxton. Quite get it away. And we'll have a secondary ball up. Plenty of scores coming through. We'll keep you posted on those as the afternoon goes on. Balwyn go inside forward 50 once again. Bouncing ball. Falls right into the hands of Shivers, who gets around 3. Short chip kick over the top was good. It was wide, but it found Jeff Goebbels. Basically sitting in the tennis courts. He's that far out. Short chip kick was good. It found Bain. So Lockie Bain, still 50 from home. Just loads up to the hot spot, 25 metres out, directly in front from goal. Shivers was the intended target. Gilchrist tried to wrap it up, couldn't quite do so. He was taken comfortably there by Wale Buxton.
He may not be getting the goals, Shivers, but I tell you what, he's creating a target down there, and it's hurting Vermont.
It's much like Hughes last week in the Surrey Park Mobley Hawks game, as he bustles through. He's given the big don't argue and been paid for the high fend off against Shane Davidson, so it'll be a free kick to Vermont off half back.
Young Davo felt that one.
Sure did.
I'm not surprised that we came like an absolute freight train. So much so that umpire Dan Beards called the blood rule.
That's what you want from your big forwards, though. You want them to create a contest. You want them to take the game on, and if someone's in their way, you want them to go straight through them.
Smash a bloke in the cheek.
Well, if he's in the way.
Fairly.
No, I didn't think there was anything untoward with that one. He was in the way and just trying to get him out of the way. And he's just smaller, that's all. Unlucky.
So Shane Davidson will be leaving the field of play with a blood rule.
I hope he brought his mouse guard today.
And there'll be a 25 metre paid. That was... I'm not sure what that was for.
Yeah, interesting decision
I was going to say, didn't think a 25 was warranted.
Because the free kick was in general play for the high hit anyway.
Yeah, and I think the other thing is, if you go back to the first quarter, they did exactly the same thing. They paid a 25 against Schneider for a head, you know, for a late tackle high. So I think that's probably... He's all over the joint there, Shane Davidson.
So Schneider has the ball. Defensive 50 for Vermont. Crocker leading up at him. He's going to go wide. Across to McConnell. In fact, sorry, to Anson. So Sammy Anson is at the tough task dealing with Jeffrey Goebbels for that first term. His kick's not great towards Perry. Mason mops up at the back. Weatherald hugs the boundary and then shoveled over it.
Just really stagnant at the moment when they're moving forward, aren't they, Vermont? There's no, I suppose, angled leads. They're all kind of straight and flat, and they're just not really presenting, hitting up well at all.
Back in the ruck. Buxton wins the tap down to Parker. Fights through some traffic to Schneider. Gets the handball that's cut off, though, by Gordon. One on by Gilchrist going in there. Wrapped up in the tackle by Jakey Best. And not going anywhere, although Vermont have managed to push this ball inside their 40. Can they get an early score this term? Umpire plays a free kick, though, going the way of Balwyn. Mason, quick hands to Gilchrist. His kick to Goebbels is up a fair way up the ground. Looks towards Gordon, kicks pretty average over his head. Shivers going to steam forward towards it and get first hands on the ball, try and fight through a few tackles. Well done by Himes. Try to get a snap out, didn't quite work. Locked up out on far wing here at Balwyn Park.
It looks like Jeff Goebbels is playing a kick behind the play here in the second quarter.
So a few changes being made out there. Vermont get the kick out of the clearance. I think it was Himes, but his kick's going out of bounds on the full. And Balwyn will get the free kick.
Do you think they're practicing some things now, Brash, for finals?
I mean, this is the way they played when they got out to Bayswater Oval. The amount of times that we called it in the grand final that Goss, Goebbels, Broadhurst and Barker were all halfway up the ground. This ability for mobile forwards is really what's created the success for Balwyn.
Exactly.
I mean, it probably doesn't have the same impact here at Balwyn Park, but once they get to the wide expanses at Bayswater Oval, they should be right.
So Pendlebury's taken off here out of the back line. Flying effort from Hughes over the back was unsuccessful, and the ball trickles out for another boundary throw-in. Gone 5 minutes here in this second term. Pancake Parlour EFL game day. Balwyn with a 51-point lead.
Have another go, son.
That win not helping the boundary umpire any bit.
I think that win has actually strengthened even more early on in this second quarter.
I like the matchup of Kyle Emily going to Rennie Gilchrist in this second term.
So, well, Buxton's improved in the ruck this quarter, although it still looks like Balwyn are dominant in the clearances. They win this one again. Gilchrist there, controlled the ball well, slipped over as he tried a handball and therefore wasn't quite on target and shovels it out over the boundary line once more.
But Kyle Emily was still 5 metres off his man there too.
Mason with the tap, one on by Hughes, running through, was cross as well. Picked up by McComb, punched it forward. It's going to be Gottliebson will first hands to it. Crocker's there to pressure him from behind. And another boundary throw in. Really testing times, although Vermont are just working a bit better defensively, you feel. No clear winner in the ruck, although clearance kick inside 50 is good. Gottliebson backing into it. Good pick up there at the front. And the miss, though. Not sure who that was. I think that was McConnon. It was. So Kevin McConnon wasn't quite on target. And another behind for Vermont. Cuts the margin to a still pretty average-looking 50 points for the Eagles.
Just a lazy 50-point lead.
It's not flattering at all, is it? Pendlebury's kick out of defence was good. Gordon just sat there and waited for it. Fell through his legs. Bain under a bit of pressure. Gets his handball off to his skipper, who unfortunately just encroached over the boundary line. It goes out of bounds.
The only positive for Vermont is they're 50 points down now in the second quarter, and it's not, 20 minutes into the fourth quarter. There is the opportunity for them to work themselves back into the game and maybe make a comeback at this stage, but at this point in time,
would need to kick at least 6 and keep Balwyn to not many. They'll look to go forward here, the Tigers. Cross gives his handball away to Shivers, who genuinely has been one of the best for Balwyn so far this afternoon. Gilchrist inside forward 50 over the head there of Dan Hughes, and a good mark taken there by Matty Wilcox for Vermont.
So Weatherall, though, rebounds the kick by Wilcox, and Wilcox has cleaned up his opponent there in Hughes. Ball's played on, though. Weatherall with the kick, fades to the left-hand side. Had Goebbels in the middle there, but went for glory himself, and Hughes is still down on hands and knees.
Wasn't a great deal in that. I think it was more poor timing and the fact that Wilcox actually couldn't stop his momentum.
Vermont will now look to move the ball forward here through Davidson.
Tyson Himes, I think.
Himes. It is. His kick short, just works to Parker. Wasn't the best one. No one-step kick. Coach killer, of course. Good kick into space by Parker, and it didn't quite work for Schneider, and he was not happy with the disposal there. It goes out of bounds once more.
I think one of the problems Vermont have is they don't have a genuine centre-half forward where they can direct play through.
Watts down to Hughes. Moving forward is Gordon. It's his handball out wide. Well done there by O'Regan. Cut off, though. Good work by Vermont to lock this ball up. Balwyn moving forward with a bit of pace there, and for what feels like the 10th time this quarter, we've got another boundary thrown on that far wing. Tossed in. Well, Buxton's definitely improved in the ruck this time. McComb to Schneider. Kick forward's not the best. Perry has a lot of work to do. Well roved at the front by Crocker, and a great handball over the top to Preto. Numbers here with Vermont. Just have to try and find the right option. Wadley's got a lot of trouble here, but spun out of the tackle well. Now Crocker can turn and have a shot at goal if he wants. The kick's a poor one, though. And numbers all with Balwyn as they cut it off through Pendlebury.
Tried to read for the free kick, couldn't quite do so. Right. Short chip kick to Roach. Now Gilchrist. Probably in the high teens for disposals at the moment. Absolutely racking him up this afternoon. And that one
up to 10 for the game.
Jeez, I'm good. Goebbels marks on centre wing, goes all the way back to 25 metres out from goal. Finds Pendlebury. Watts. And now Crow can move it forward. Fraser's found a bit of space, just came off the bench. Perfect timing. Centre wing, and the kick wasn't all that flash.
Yeah, it was a shank.
He's genuinely shanked that, or it's basically gone to the Vermont coach's box.
Such is the ease that Balwyn are moving around the ball around the ground. They are killing Vermont on every single facet of the game.
Vermont usually have about 47 people on their bench. There's absolutely no one standing over there at the moment. Interesting. Anyway, play goes on. Perry can't quite take the mark. Puts his head over it at ground level. Can't quite pick it up though. Wadley to do the same. And now he finally gets it away. Short handball there from Parker was good. Now Perry can move the ball forward. They're doing it, but they're not doing it with any sort of ease. Neal gave his handball away to Crocker, and now they've turned it over once again. Canterbury got enough of a tap on it to get it away to Weatherald, and now through Taylor Gilchrist, Balwyn around on the outer side.
Good movement here through Roach. He's kicked towards the leading Gordon. He's been doing that all day, leading up fantastically at the ball. Has it once again on the wing. He's got a couple of options. He's going to come all the way back across here to Crow, looking for the switch. Weatherald's out, so is Pendlebury. It's going to be through these two. You'd think that they're going to try and move the ball out this way. So Weatherald up to a Watts, strong mark. Just slowing play down here, and this is what Balwyn have done well. Controlled the ball, used it well by foot. Watts' kick's just going to be a big up and under towards Chivers. Down on the front, Vermont have numbers, although a great tackle applied by that man, Chivers. Jeezy's been fantastic at centre half forward, and it's going to be a ball up.
That sums up Vermont's day there. 6 players around the ball with an easy out, 2 Balwyn players, and they win a stoppage.
Well, Buxton gets the hands. Watts probably applied a high tackle there, and it's actually going to be paid eventually here against Traeger. So it'll go the way of Brad Neal.
He's been one of some only competitors today.
Just need to hit a few targets up here, Vermont. It's gone towards Perry. It's not a bad kick. At the front of the pack, good roving. Vermont have a chance to go inside 50, heading towards Best. And it's should have been a strong mark, just slipped over at the end. Gordon down back, great tackle applied. Really well done there by Anson. He's got the ball back now again. Lots of pressure being applied by the Balwyn defence. Still with Anson. Shovels the handball all the way out the back. Surely tackled without it. Free kick there. Going to go the way of Cam Howard, I think.
He's one Vermont player that really needs to lift. An experienced footballer. He really needs to start showing his worth here, because Vermont really need him at this particular time of the game. They need all their experienced heads, Vermonts, to really get on their bike to get themselves back into this contest.
So it definitely hasn't been pretty, but Vermont have wrestled back a little bit of form and dominance in the last couple of minutes, and needs to be capped off by Howard here. Kick from 40 is a pretty average one, all the way out to the left, and just a really ordinary set shot routine. Just kind of laid back on that one, and score ticks along. Balwyn 11-5-71, Vermont 3-3-21, 12.5 minutes gone in this second term out here at Balwyn Park. This, of course, is EFL Game Day, proudly brought to you by the Pancake Parlour.
Certainly is. Pendlebury kicks to himself, gives himself another stat, and then roosts it some 55 metres out wide. Centre wing, handball over the top from Johnson, wasn't all that flash. And it goes over the boundary line and out of bounds. If you've just joined us, just a very, very entertaining quarter of football in that first term that sees the Balwyn Football Club, the reigning premiers in the Eastern Football League, lead by 50 points midway through this second term. We played 13 minutes. Great tackle there from Schneider on Taylor Gilchrist. Needed to do something to get himself back into the game. An average first term, and now he finally sets up Joel Perry inside forward 50, and Perry can line up for his side's 4th of the afternoon.
That's what they need, Brash. You mentioned here before Cam Howard was being quiet. They need these big names to really lift the barometers.
They do. Especially when at the moment, Balwyn have exposed Vermont's weaknesses all around the field. And a lot of clubs will now be looking at this game, especially on the tape after today.
So Perry comes in now. We're about 35 out. Sends it on its way. Likes it off the boot. And has his first of the afternoon, his side's 4th. They move on to 4-3-27, the Eagles. Balwyn, the Tigers are 11-5-71 on the Bendigo Bank scoreboard. You're listening to EFL Game Day, whether it's online at efl.org.au, easternfm.com.au or 98.1 Radio Eastern.
Alana, one of the things when you don't have a dominant centre forward or full forward, you've actually got to get your runners into the game. So Vermont's strength this year has been getting their runners, their forward pockets, their half forwards into the game and kicking goals. So they really need to start running a lot more and a lot harder.
Back in the centre here, Well done by Gilchrist. Got a handball out the back there to Kennedy. Haven't called his name much today for Balwyn. Kick travels a good way of 40 metres and trickles out over the boundary line.
You're right, Ray. Brash, sorry, I called you Ray, my apologies. You used to have racing next to me.
Tossed in once more. Mason couldn't quite get the disposal on it. Well done though, diving in with Sanfilippo. Managed to win the ball out for his Balwyn side. Good work by Kennedy. Now all the way back to Fraser. Great kick inside 50. Juggling mark there. Taken by Hughes. Bullet of a kick in by Liam Fraser. And Balwyn have a chance to respond immediately through one of their big stars in Danny Hughes.
I don't know what Hughes has done early on in this game, but he seems to be a prize target for half of the Vermont side at the moment.
I think there might have been something.
Fires.
Yeah, it might have been something from past South Croydon days, I reckon, Dyson.
So let's see how Hughes handles this kick. Vermont struggled a couple of times on the set shot down this side of the ground. He'll kick from 40 out, 45-degree angle. Goal umpire does not move a bit. Fantastic kick by Daniel Hughes. Shows the Eagle boys how it's done, that's for sure. And Balwyn respond immediately with a goal of their own. And score moves back to 50 points, 12-5-77. Vermont 4-3-27.
Just all a bit too easy at the moment for Balwyn, isn't it?
It is. Not a very good, not a pretty sight if you're a Vermont supporter.
No, you'd be very disappointed right now.
Vermont, what can they do? Oh, beautiful ruck work there by Mason. Fed it down the throat of Rennie Gilchrist and was wrapped up in a good tackle.
Bit unlucky to not be in the back, you reckon?
Yeah, maybe a bit stiff. The tackle applied there was all in his back, but
just get the dirt out of his mouth now.
Gonna ball it up instead. Mason is far too good for Phillips in the ruck. Gonna have to change that up, you'd think. Numbers here with Fraser. Goes out the back to Sanfilippo. Kick travelled about 30 metres and just hugged the boundary line. Got the lucky bounce to keep it in. And thrown up once again on the far side.
Mason's almost been flawless in the ruck today. There's absolutely nothing that he has done wrong.
No, he's certainly been the general so far, Alana.
So far.
Phillips this time just gets first hands.
Just mozzed him.
Schneider crashed into his opponent. O'Regan though, oh, sorry, that was Howard. Extracts the ball, flying mark by Crow, wasn't taken. Perry applies a follow-up tackle. Now Pendlebury has it. Numbers with Balwyn over the top and a chance to rebound. Great work by Wright. Finds Fraser and his kick up the wing is really good to Bain. Bain looking to move it quickly now. Got a number in the middle. Big kick. It's a risky one towards Cross. And he manages to take the mark over the back, over the top of Himes. Good work towards Hughes, it looks like. Takes the mark, looks back in board to Fraser. He's had a fair bit of it this second term. Lots of options inside 50. Goes towards Chivers in a 2-on-1 try climbing over the back. Great work by Wilcox to cut it off. And his kick finds Crocker. So now a chance for Vermont. What can they do here? Great tackle applied by Gilchrist. Comes back to Crocker. Works all the way back here to Howard. Finds a teammate on the wing there.
This is where Vermont are having problems. It's this next possession going forward.
Looks for a little one back to Howard. Like Brash said, just can't find a clear disposal. Looks like there's number 62 out there. I reckon that might be Shane Davison, maybe with a change jumper anyway. Ball's out all the way up with Best. Phillips applies the tackle on Mason, and it's going to be thrown in once again.
Number 62 is Kyle Emily. He didn't bring his number 1 jumper to the ground, so he got changed. I don't think he's had too many stats today, so that's probably the first time you picked it up.
First time I've seen 62 out there, to be honest. Thanks for that, Soupy. It's Howard now. High up and under kick, not a really good one, and it'll be easily picked up by Crow, although he didn't stick it. McComb followed it up, and so did Crow on him. Big bustling tackle.
Crow's been excellent today.
Yep.
Real general across half-back, that's for sure. So tossed up on the cricket pitch here at Balwyn Park. It's a 50-point ball game. One on there by O'Regan to extract the clearance. Thumping fist forward by Vermont. Just not doing it all cleanly. Cross is in there. O'Regan once more. Kick out, and it'll be a foot race between McConnon and Bain. McConnon wins out. Kick up towards McComb. Good handball to Schneider. In fact, it's Howard, and he'll get the free kick for holding on there. Smart play by Cam Howard, and he's really come alive in these last couple of minutes. What have they got, Vermont, going forward? A few loose numbers for Balwyn in there. Defensive field, 40. So he has to just hold up play and try and squeeze a low kick. Just works to Kirby McConnon. He takes off straight away, looks goalward. It's actually a really good effort, and that's a really important goal by Kirby McConnon. Seen so many of them from that far pocket. Just took his chances, rolled the dice, played on, and finished delightfully for Vermont. So some good play by the Eagles.
Yeah, they've shown a bit of patience there, and I think, like I said, when you don't have a dominating centre half forward or full forward, those runners have to actually start working into the game. And if that means they've got to slow the game down and play a bit of tempo football to get these players into the game, that's what they have to do.
Really nice finish by Kirby McConnon for his second of the day.
They've just got to move a bit more. They're really stagnant in that forward line.
Yeah, that forward line is just not moving.
Not at all. They should maybe put some blocks on, some screens for each other, just something. Try something different, because what they're doing at the moment is certainly not working.
As exciting as this game was in the first term, it's gone a little bit stagnant, but still a couple of goals in this term. Ball goes wide. Commentary side right up near the Vermont coach's box.
I'm watching Rennie Gilchrist again running around the ground, and it almost seems like that there's just no one prepared to pick him up or run with him. Oppositions need to put serious time into him.
Here he is on the end of it now.
Speaking of the Devils, short chip kick on the left boot is intended for Chivers, bounced off his big chest, goes over the boundary line and out of bounds. And unfortunately, he's pulled up a little bit ginger from that one as well. So you are right, although it's sort of that Mitchell damned if you do and damned if you don't man him up, because he's still going to rack up his 35. Snapshot off the side of the boot came from cross.
Is Kyle Emily playing on him?
Supposedly.
He's hovering around him.
Yeah, hovering.
But the problem is that you wouldn't mind that from Kyle Emily as long as he was having an impact on the other side of it. I mean, Andrew Preto's got the job on Tom Roach, and Tom Roach hasn't had the greatest of games, but Preto's had a couple of kicks himself anyway. They've just got to make the most of it. I think they're being too reactive this afternoon. And that's been heavily punishable, although they go inside forward 50 once again. Good kick from Perry, found Kirby McConnon.
It's better on the move.
Man on the mark, 45 out.
And Kirby has worked extremely hard in this first half for the Vermont. He's had very limited opportunities, but from what opportunities he's had, he certainly has made the most of them. And once again, now coming in for his third goal, he's had a fantastic season, Kirby, for Vermont.
Comes in now, sends it on its way. Looks pretty good off the boot. It's just going to stay right, though, and through for one behind. The fourth on the board for the Vermont Football Club. They're 5-4-34. Balwyn 12-6-78 on the Bendigo Bank scoreboard.
I was going to say that last stoppage when you were talking about Rennie Gilchrist and no one manning him up.
Yep.
Emily started with him, but he got drawn into the ball, and Rennie just ran down the side and ended up with that possession, nice easy possession. So he has to actually run with him and not just kind of run with him.
It's a 44-point margin here at Balwyn Park. 23 minutes gone in this second term. Ball's going to come to Pendlebury down back. Switch back across to Jackson Weatherald. He's got Gottliebson further up the field if he wants. Just holds up. Vermont applying this well. A little bit of pressure. Weatherald's low kick to Fraser. So there's a number in the middle for Fraser. Decides not to take it on. Gonna go up the wing. Good pressure applied on the mark by McConnon to force that kick to go a bit wider than he would have liked, and the fist over the top from Wilcox flies over the boundary line. And that's where we'll cross, thanks to Chiropractics Betting, Lachlan Munro.
Thanks, boys. Glenn Chivers actually came off a little bit worse aware at the moment. He's got a bit of a pain outside his left knee, and it's getting looked at right now. Keep you guys updated.
Not much play out of that clearance, and that'd be a bit of a loss if we didn't see him again. He's been fantastic at centre-half forward for Balwyn.
Yeah, not good for Balwyn if it's anything serious. Let's hope not.
Well done there by Will Buxton to throw it out the back to Schneider. Should get a high tackle there. Just raised the arm a little bit, and Gilchrist fell for the trick. Well done by Schneider.
I think Tommy Schneider has tried hard for Vermont in this first half. It's not his fault that they've not been able to take advantage of his good play. He's put his body on the line and is trying to create opportunities.
The mind game's going on in every contest in this game.
Schneider's kick inside 50. Well done there by Vermont to apply pressure on Wright, who couldn't take the mark. Boundary throwing to be a good option here for Vermont. It's going to work out nicely for him. You feel a late goal here, Brush, would be really important heading into half-time for the Eagles.
It will be, and look, Vermont have restored a little bit of pride in this second quarter.
Perry in the ruck. Hughes, also Cross it was with the kick. All Vermont numbers now. Great mark, though, over the top. It's going to go the way of Tregear. He was out of that one
Hughes
by all marks.
himself.
And now a chance for Balwyn to counter-attack. Well done by Gordon to get the body on. Here's that man Hughes. His handball beats all comers, though, and now Vermont themselves have got 5 numbers running through. Emily, poor handball. Hasn't had a lot of it. It's actually going to work out all right for them. Luckily, Crocker doesn't have anything inside 50. He has to hold it up, step around, and then dump a big ball inside 50. McConnell, the fly from the back, almost actually works there for Schneider. And then all the Balwyn numbers have time to mop it up. And now Mason, quick hands to Wright. Fraser. There's obviously a fair few loose numbers for both sides on different parts of the ground, and that ball from Fraser wasn't a good one. Goes out of bounds on the full.
If there was ever a situation where he needed a tall forward, we had the 2 smallest players of Vermont flying centre forward for a goal, a mark.
Big kick, and those loose numbers for Balwyn are going to love this one. It works out all right there for Best. Kick of Hughes is smothered. Vermont just a bit fumbly on the ball at the deck, and over the boundary line it goes once more.
Just saying that last forward entry for Vermont, it just felt like Crocker tried to do too much. And there's been a number of occasions today where he's just trying to over-possess the ball instead of just winning it to advantage.
Is it irritating anyone else that Jake Best's jumper is about 4 shades more gold than the rest of the Vermont jumpers?
It wasn't irritating me, but thanks for pointing it out, Darcy.
You won't miss it now. Great mark from Kirby McConnell off the back of the pack. Found a bit of space there in front of Sam Filippo.
He better get some possessions now.
Umpire Dan Beard basically just tells Tom Schneider to move on. I mentioned mind games before. He's one that's getting right in the middle of it. One man who's focused well and wholly and solely on the footy is Kirby McConnell. Shivers does a bit of a test on the boundary line. McConnell for his 3rd of the afternoon. Missed one hit from here earlier in the quarter, but makes no mistake the second time round. And a great kick there from Kirby McConnell. That's a handy goal for the Vermont Football Club. His 3rd of the afternoon. His side 6. They move on to 6-4-40. Balwyn at 12-6-78, and a 51-point margin reduces back to 38 at the 27.5-minute mark of this second term.
Coach Steve Cochran will be happy that the boys of the Vermont Football Club have stemmed the bleeding a little bit and are working extremely hard to get back into the game. They've just got to cut these turnovers and poor kicks to position out of their game if they're going to hope to get back into it.
Mason gets first hands in the middle. Well done by Buxton to follow it up, though, and applies the tackle. Still going strong for Vermont. Howard diving in over the top. Good work by Bain. He's in there as well for Balwyn. No result. Will be thrown up once again. 3-1 this term for Vermont. Wrestled their way back into this game. Still a long way to go, though, for the Eagles. One on there by Tregear. Cross. Shoves it inside 50.
Got to move it quickly.
Oh, that kick from the Vermont defender there in Anson goes out of bounds on the full. We're very close to the halftime siren here.
Well, he was under pressure, Anson, and if he didn't kick it, he was going to get pinged by the Balwyn player hot on his heels.
Comes out to Mason, chance to go inside 50, and the mark taken there by Hughes, I think it is. And there's that siren we just mentioned. So Danny Hughes will have a set shot from about 45 metres out, looking for his 3rd of the game and 2nd of the quarter.
This would undo every bit of
this would hurt. Yeah, this would hurt Vermont. So he's a very good kick of the ball. Be confident here. Slide angle. In comes Hughes. Kick on the way. It's fading out to the left, and that's where it'll stay. So probably a good result for Vermont as we reach halftime here at Balwyn Park. And on the Bendigo Bank scoreboard, Balwyn still holding a strong 39-point lead, 12-7-79. Although Vermont cut the margin a little bit down with a good quarter. They're 6-4-40. It's halftime here on Pancake Parlour AFL Game Day. We'll send it back to the studio and come back to you with the Pie Shed halftime show here at Balwyn Park.
We want the best for our